Hi, this is Stephanie West, and today I'm chatting with Brian Travis from the Brian Travis Band. Hi, Brian. How you doing?
Hi.
It's
Hi,
nice to
Steph. Good. I'm doing good.
okay.
How are you?
I'm great. It's nice to see you again.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good to see you too.
the first time I saw you was at the Alarm Show in San Francisco. It's the first time I met you.
That's
Remember that?
that's
Back
right.
in the ballroom.
Yeah, we were almost front row, right?
Yeah, that was a great show. Um,
Yeah.
I just was looking up the alarm, and I noticed that Mike Peters and Jules are doing a live stream called the Big Night In. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I usually watch it on Saturdays. It
Oh,
comes
you
on
have
around 1 o'clock. Yeah, I'm usually prepping for my own live stream that
right.
night, and they come on around 1, so I have it going in the background while I'm setting up all my equipment. And yeah, they've turned theirs kind of into a variety show almost. I mean, they've got live music, interviews, videos being flown in through other, people. There's like a lot of footage from the Alarm's early days, and he's turning it into a whole, almost a TV show,
That's
every
awesome.
Saturday.
Is he
Yeah.
incorporating the fundraiser in that somehow, or
They're not, he's not taking, as far as I know, they're not taking the virtual tips.
Mhm.
They're doing this as a way to just keep going during this shutdown. And they had to cancel a big tour, and they're just, they're doing what we're all doing. We're all live streaming now to reconnect with our fan base
right?
during this downtime. And I think they're selling a t-shirt, like a Big Night In t-shirt that they had designed. And I think that's just to keep some money coming in, because that's really the issue right now for all of the musicians. We don't have gigs to play, and we don't have money coming in.
Mhm.
I do a live stream once a week, and I throw up a virtual tip, and people, chip in here and there, a little bit here and there, and it all adds up. There's no amount too small. So if you're everyone out there, I would encourage you to go support musicians that you admire and you like, and they're all kind of struggling at the moment. So you can just give $1, $5, $10, whatever, and it all adds up, and it helps me buy groceries once a week.
Yeah, it definitely helps, and it's nice that you can do something and not feel completely helpless, and you can kind of get your creativity out and just keep kind of going, because it's kind of you get used to this certain lifestyle, and all of a sudden it just comes to a halt, But what do people do?
Yeah.
They're at home. I mean, they're watching movies, they're listening to music,
Hmm.
they're doing things that are created by artists. So I think a new appreciation for artists has come about, besides the essential workers that we need. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it takes a lot of effort and time to put in a performance like that, and you do deserve
They,
to get paid
well,
for it.
they're kind of casual though, which is nice. I mean, it's me and a guitar. I'm not with a band, so that's a lot easier.
Mhm.
But yeah, like a lot of artists are like picking up their guitars and doing these casual live streams. But I mean, yeah, a live performance is never 100% casual, because I find that I'm practicing songs, and when you're playing them by yourself and not with a band, you've got to almost approach it differently, because sometimes there's parts where the band carries the song,
Mhm.
and if it's just you alone, you've kind of got to figure out, oh, what key can I sing this the best in, or let's put a capo maybe up here, and then I'll do something different for the bridge. And
Mhm.
so you're always kind of like um, fine tuning the songs in a more solo acoustic fashion. And I haven't done solo acoustic gigs in a long time, and I used to do them a lot, but it's been a while, so it's been really kind of fun to reconnect with these songs and work them out in an acoustic, 100% acoustic way, and then present them to people.
Mhm.
And I wasn't going to do the live stream originally, and I just felt, when it first happened, I was like, okay, you know what? Let me just try it. I'll play these songs online, and I'll just see how it goes. If anything, it'll just be good for me to get behind the guitar and play a little bit, get the songs under my fingers. And I did it, and it was so much fun. All of these people showed up. All of a sudden, the thumbs and the hearts were going
Yeah.
up on the screen, and it was like, really, it gave me a bit of a boost. And it kind of, because that first week when this all shut down, like I had a lot of anxiety, and I was, a lot of uncertainty. We didn't know what was going on, So, and then I got in front of the camera, and then all these people from LA who used to see my band down there, and people I've met up here, and people from Branson when I used to play out done some touring and stuff. So all these people showed up online, and it was really, really validating, and it gave me a boost. And then everyone in the comments was like, thank you for doing this. Thank you so much for doing this. This is so great. This is so great. And I was like, oh, wow, this is awesome, because it's helping them, but it's also helping me get through the week. Right. So I said, right, even before the live stream was over, I said, look, you guys, I'm going to do this every week. Once a week, I'm going to get here and I'll try to play all new songs for you. Like, I'm going to go back to my catalog and learn other stuff. And then if you guys have requests, I'll do those. And, covers. I always like to do a couple of choice covers, and to stretch and challenge myself musically. And so it's been, way more fun and more rewarding than I ever thought it would be.
It's great, because it's like, I've always wanted to see you, but you're in Vallejo, right?
Yeah, right now, yeah.
Far away. So it's just like, I would probably have never, had the opportunity, or not, unless I was up there going through to see another band.
Yeah, the stars would really have to have aligned. Yeah.
All the people that have never had a chance or haven't seen you in a while are finally getting to see you every week, and that's really great. And the same goes for my other friends and other bands, that you just can't see all those concerts. And even like with you with the Alarm, because I know that, obviously we met at the Alarm concert. You're a big Alarm concert fan, you're a big Alarm fan. So
yes,
now you can see them all the time. So it's kind of, kind of fun, way that you can do it. And it's creative, and I'm glad it's helping you. It gives you kind of something to look forward to during the week and prepare for, so you're not just in your thumbs and in this state of
it. Helps me remember what day it is.
It gives you just, you need to get ready for this day and do this.
Yeah, I have one day a week that I have to do something, and I'm like, oh, and Friday comes around
for that day.
Yeah, Friday comes around, and I'm like, oh, I should really practice some songs. Yeah.
So did you lose gigs when this all happened, or things that you were planning on that you were looking?
Yeah. I had a gig in April. I play this one brew house, a pub that has 3 bands play one night a month, and I had a gig there, and I had another gig at a place down in just in Crockett, down below Vallejo, and they were going to have me back. We hadn't solidified it, but it was in the works of being solidified, but now that's out the window, So I think every musician has lost gigs because of this. Some lost entire tours, major tours, Pearl Jam was going to tour and they're not touring. And, the reason the way I know that this is real is that Styx aren't touring, because Styx always tour. And they're always touring, and they're not touring right now. That's how I know that we are in a world of no concerts right now.
I was wondering what Morrissey was thinking, because like he could have canceled this show that was there was a big show coming up in LA that got rescheduled, and he probably would have canceled it, but now he doesn't have a choice to cancel it, because it's probably not going to happen. So I wonder what he's thinking at this point.
That's funny. He doesn't have the opportunity to cancel his shows because they already get canceled.
Like, I would cancel the show if it were already canceled. Like, he should make us think about it.
That's so funny. It's so funny.
Yeah. So what is your band that you have? What is the current state of the Brian Travis band?
Okay. Yeah.
What are those guys do now? And have you guys maybe doing a stream all,
Yeah, we haven't tried that yet, but I've got a bass player who lives in Marin, and I've got a drummer that lives in San Bruno, so we already live pretty far away. And we honestly only come together when we have shows, so we'll usually get together and rehearse. Because we know all the songs, we've already we've learned them, and we've done a number of gigs together. So at this point, we just I send them a set list, and then we'll usually have a rehearsal just to figure out the beginnings and the endings of the songs. Like, okay, well, we're ending with this song and starting with this one. How should we do it? Maybe you do the drum fill right at the end of this song, and we'll kick it in. We just write the show essentially, and then we run through the set once or twice, and then we're ready to go. And then you go out on stage. Sometimes you don't want to over rehearse because it can take away from the spontaneity of the gig. So if we just run it through real quick and kind of have a list of what songs we're doing, we can get on stage, and then the audience and like the energy of the room can kind of carry you through the rest of the show and give you that boost you need. So that's generally what we do. Since this has happened, of course, we're not doing any of that. Since I am the songwriter, and I've always been the one to write the music originally before it even goes to the band, I can easily just do this on my own. So I'm just kind of carrying forth in a solo acoustic fashion, playing my songs for people, so it's super informal. My live streams are pretty informal. I'm not trying to make it like a super polished show. It's a live stream, so it is live. So I get excited, when I see a bunch of hearts and thumbs and stuff. I sometimes mess up, just because I'm kind of keeping one eye on what people are saying and then trying to do my songs. It's a really interesting feeling, because with an audience, I'm used to that. But playing alone in a room and then seeing reactions on a screen, it's a little more distracting in a way than it is playing a live show. So I've had to develop going, don't pay attention to that. Just work on the song, and then take a look afterwards, and then answer questions and interact with people. So it's a whole new thing. And I really think this live stream situation is like the Wild West for music right now, because so many artists are doing it, and we're all learning as we go. And we're kind of figuring out that it can be kind of lucrative, because it's a direct connection with your fans. And people are, look at that Post Malone show, right? The Nirvana thing that he did. I think they raised like millions of dollars for the $5 million or something for the World Health Organization. So like when our current administration decides not to fund that, Post Malone shows up and rock and roll saves the day, like it was always intended to. It's just amazing what is possible with this live streaming platform. And I think that right now, before it's regulated, before Facebook goes, hey, are we losing money on this? How come we aren't getting some of this?
Right, exactly.
Right now, we're at the beginning, and it's a direct connection between you and the artist that you love, and it's actually kind of exciting in that way.
Yeah, I was wondering if like this is after everything gets back to society opens back up. It's not really going to be back to normal. I think it'll all be different. But like if this is going to be like a new trend that carries on, and a new way for musicians to connect with their fans and stuff. And I think it will,
I absolutely think it will. I have been, after the first one, I was like, I'm going to do this every week. And every week I do it, it's like a podcast, right? If you do it consistently, you can grow your base. So like people are coming back week after week, the same people plus the people that they've told about it. And I've watched my numbers grow and grow. And it's been really exciting to watch, but you have to do it every week. You can't stop. So when life comes back, I'm going to still have to do this show on Saturdays, and that's going to be harder to do, because right now I have a week to prepare for it, rather than like, oh, okay, I'm off work now. Oh, which songs am I going to do? I got to burn the midnight oil to get it out. But I think that, like anything else worth doing, you put the time and the energy and the work into it, and you build it, it will come, kind of thing. People will show up and support it. So I think it will be something for musicians and artists to kind of do in the future.
Yeah, I think so too. So now that you are forced to produce a performance every week, have you found that you're inspired to write new stuff? Are you working on new songs right now for the band?
Yeah. I right when this whole thing went down, and when these sorts of things happen and there's big giant life shifts, whether it's in your personal life or on a global scale like this, I think that songwriters are the ones who start to put the feelers out, and things start to come. And I immediately wrote a song right when this whole thing went down, called the Pandemic Song. And it was very much, I immediately like recorded it and made a video of it and threw it up on my YouTube channel, which is something else I'm trying to do more frequently now, is put videos up once every 2 weeks, on a consistent basis.
Growing.
Yeah. I got some views for a video I did like 4 or 5 years ago that was shown on a news station in Branson. And all of a sudden my numbers spiked on my YouTube channel. And I was like, oh, wow, I need to now really start keeping up with my YouTube channel and putting stuff on regularly, and to
Yeah.
kind of capitalize on the spike that I got. So I've been doing that as well. And these live streams really go hand in hand with that. So I'm learning as an artist that I could play a gig at Toots Tavern in Crockett,
Mm-hmm.
and like my same 30 people will show up, or I can put a music video on YouTube and everyone all over the world will see it. And my subscribers, will go up, or I'll play a live stream show and everyone can sit at home and watch it. Because honestly, it's been a changing dynamic in the music scene for a long time, especially for artists like myself who are independent, who don't have the name recognition of, say, The Alarm or Gene Loves Jezebel, or bigger bands who play stadiums and such. So I'll put out an event invite and I'll put it out online that I'm playing this gig here, and you put it out to 500 to 1,000 people, and 30 people will show up.
Yeah.
And that's just the nature of it.
Mm-hmm.
People will say yes, they'll all say, hey, I'm coming, and then who really comes is a completely different situation. Yeah. So now you say, hey, I'm gonna be on your computer in your living room. Mm-hmm. And people, what's to stop people? There's nothing. They go, oh, I'll check Brian out for a few minutes.
I'll check him out. I'm watching like 50 million tasks, but it's easy to just, boop, boop,
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, I play a Queen song that you like, and you're like, oh, that's really cool. And then you're with me for the whole show. Right. So it's like, it's just a really easy way to get into people's living rooms, and then, kind of attract them to what you're doing. And then, it's weird because like, I'm not one to watch a bunch of live streams, but I am now, because I think they're very fascinating what's happening with it right now. So I'm kind of studying it, and you kind of develop a bond with the artists that you're watching, because they're just sitting here and they're making mistakes, and it's all very live, and it's all very informal.
Raw. So do you
it's completely raw.
A lot of pressure because it's like people can, it's basically recorded and it's out there, so people can rewind it and be like, oh.
Yeah, I had to delete
the band kind of, matching over your errors and stuff.
It's a double-edged sword.
And I'm like, oh God, it's out there now. People are really gonna know how I suck,
Well, that's absolutely part of it, and I think you have to get into this headspace. You have to get into a headspace of like, it's okay if I sang that part off key. It's okay if I flubbed that chord. Throughout the entire song, every time I came to that part, I missed that chord again and again, and you have to be okay with that, because people don't care. Because we're all here now going through it. Mm-hmm. And everybody's rooting for you, and you have to kind of know that. My second one that I did, I deleted it because I wasn't happy with it. I wasn't happy with my performance, but I left all the other ones up, and I've done 7 of them now. And what I had to do is I had to come at it and be very forgiving of myself, and be like, what, it doesn't matter. But at the same time, rehearsal is key. I'll always rehearse my set a number of times before I play it, so that even if I mess up, well, that's just being human. At least I knew what I was supposed to do, right? So I think if you're prepared enough and you can do the song to a degree to where it's professional enough to where, where you feel good about it, you have to know they say if you're performing live, you have to know a song as well as Happy Birthday, mm-hmm. In order to do it in front of people. And so rehearsal is key. Because I think my second one was a little under rehearsed, so I was really not feeling comfortable. But ever since then, I've rehearsed every single one and gotten them to a point to where I'm happy with them. And then whatever flubs happen. It's no big deal.
Well, I think it's an interesting dynamic, because like Facebook has this reputation of being fake book. So now and where people can like do these perfectly, Photoshop pictures and the way they want other people to see their reality is. But like with these live streams, it's just raw, and it is what it is, and people are making mistakes. You see that real musicians that are super popular.
We're human.
Yeah, we're human.
Yeah.
And everyone's kind of like, oh, okay. And I can relate to this finally, and like things are changing a little bit, and I like it, Um,
There is a silver lining to all of this,
yeah,
that, you know, the fact that the earth is being able to take a breath right now,
yeah,
and
exactly. People are
and nature is able, yeah, and people are too. And I'm sure a lot of people who, you know, have lost their job are thinking,
yeah,
well,
well,
how
that's
much did I really like that job anyway? Maybe there's something better for me to do. Maybe there's a different purpose for me. We're all being faced with that during this time, and so it's really, a really interesting time in history. We are growing up in interesting times
we're
right
being
now.
stripped down. It's like to bare bones, I think, for sure. So,
Yeah.
you've been doing this weekly show, and this is just on. Are you doing it on Instagram or is it just on Facebook?
Right now, just on Facebook, but I've been talking to somebody who's been watching my live streams, and he's a producer. I mean, he has cameras and he's got a whole system,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, I want to do a 4 camera shoot with you, and make it a little more, you know, just a little more produced. And I said, that's fine. Let's do that. I would love to do that, but I also want to maintain the intimacy that
Mm-hmm.
I've currently created. I don't want to lose that. I'm going to have this guy, set up a camera system for me, you know, far away from me, you know, hours before I play. And then he's going to, run the cameras and change different angles remotely on his system while I do my show, which means I'm going to have, you know, I'm going to have some, video footage of my band that I'm going to show at places. And it's going to be a little more interactive and a little more of a kind of almost like what the Alarm are doing, a little more of a show,
Yeah,
but it's still going to maintain, because I mean, these things you have to make them entertaining for people week after week after week. So
yeah,
this guy reached out to me and I said, look, man, if you really want to come up here and do that, I'd be very happy to do that. And he's, you know, because he also believes that this live streaming thing is a whole new thing,
right.
and it feels like MySpace in the late '90s. You know, like, oh, this is a new thing happening, so let's get in on it. And
Yeah,
since we're already right on the cusp of, we're already doing it anyway,
yeah,
let's, you know, figure all these things out. So I'm going to work with him, and we're going to do a few of them together and see how it goes. But I'm not going to change anything drastically. You know, it'll just be like, more camera angles, and,
it'll be like,
maybe,
okay, you'll be like switching this way.
yeah, it'll be subtle. Yeah, you just see it from different angles, because right now it's just the same angle. It's just the same
Yeah,
angle. It's just me, you know, and it's like, well, for 2.5, you know, these go on sometimes for 2 hours, you know, so that it's like, oh, if we could change a camera angle every once in a while, that might be nice.
not
So
that boring. I mean, I think your live streams are pretty entertaining. You tell the stories behind the songs, like the you had told the one story
yeah,
about your, I think it was your grandma or your great grandma, and that was entertaining. So you're a very good,
yeah.
you're a good songwriter, but you're also a good storyteller, which I guess they go hand in hand. So that's
If you're a front man of a band, I think
yeah,
you eventually learn the skill of
mhm,
being kind of a host and kind of like
def-
telling stories. Yeah.
yeah. And that's not, I mean, that's not easy. I mean, I struggle with that. Like
No.
DJ, it's like I'm into the music, but it's like, you know, as someone that's naturally like, I'm very talkative, but not, do have a little bit of like social anxiety. So it's like trying to
Yeah.
be like the host of everyone, make everyone comfortable and be relaxed while you're doing it. That's a definite skill. And I think that's a good skill that you have. So, um, you know, good for you.
Thanks. Yeah. No, I said recently, you know, because I'm always overcome with positivity after I do these live streams. And, I said, in a post the other day, I was like, oh my gosh, did another great live stream. It was so much fun. And I was just like, I feel blessed in a lot of ways that I have the experience
Mm-hmm.
to be able to not only play my songs, but to be able to kind of like host a night,
Mm-hmm.
and carry the whole show through and be entertaining enough to where I can entertain people during this time, you know, where it's difficult. Because for me to get up there and tell my stories and play my songs, it takes some preparing, but when you're doing it, it's fun. And I am at ease doing it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because I've already gone through the learning curve of
Yeah.
feeling comfortable doing it. And, so, you know, thankfully it's all kind of working out, and I'm here now, and I'm able to like do what I do, and people are responding well to it. It's not a lot, you know, I have, you know, my people, but it's growing, and yeah, it's just you know, everyone I think at this time has to feel like they have a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I think it helps, or else you're just kind of lost in Netflix and day drinking, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that the fact that I have one thing once a week that I can do
Yeah.
that gives some light to somebody out there makes me feel happy, and it kind of reflects that light back on me, and then I feel better about the week, you know.
You mentioned that you're an artist. What other mediums of art do you create?
Well, I've always been an illustrator. I've always been able to draw, and that was the first thing that I kind of connected with as a kid. You know, I was always able to just look at something and I could draw it. And then I got into comic books and I started, you know, I could draw superheroes and all that stuff. And people were always asking me, hey, draw me this, draw me that. And then I got into high school and stuff. And then I went to see an Alarm concert, and that blew my mind wide open. And I came home asking my mom for a guitar, you know, and I wanted to write songs, and I wanted to write a song that would make someone feel the way I felt when I heard Mike Peters singing his lyrics, you know, with that energy and that rawness. And it just turned me on. So I, you know, I continued to draw and continued to, I got into graphic design, I got into painting, illustration, you know, that kind of stuff. But the guitar was always there. I was always writing. I was always playing, learning chords and bothering other guitar players and saying, hey, show me how you do that, you know? And I just kept doing it. And then I saw, all of a sudden I was writing my own songs, and spending a lot of time in my room in high school, just working on stuff, you know, music stuff. And then eventually started playing in bands, and you know, just doing a lot of that. Now, when I fell completely into the music scene, I was still using all my art side to make flyers and posters and CD covers, you know, album art and all of that. So I was still utilizing my skills for the things that I needed it for my music projects. And I never really let go of it. But in more recent years, I moved from LA. I did a big tour all across the United States, and I came back, and I ended up relocating to the Bay Area. And I live now in a building that has a art studio space, like it has like shared art studio space in the building, so I can keep all my art stuff set up. And I find that I go down there and I paint now, and I'm a little more balanced with my music and my art, you know, so it's not one or the other. I'm doing a little of both right now, which is actually, I love it.
So when did you move to Vallejo? You said after
about
was that from so your last album was Coyote and the Crow? Was that your last?
Yeah, 2002. Yeah, I think it was around 2014. And I had been in LA for over 10 years. I'd made a couple of records, and then I met this guy named George Landris. He worked with No Doubt and the Killers and a bunch of other bands. He's done a lot of stuff, and he's got a few Grammys on his wall, you know, not Grammys, Grammy Award winning records.
Right.
And so like he's an engineer and a producer, and he saw me play at a small place, liked my songwriting, came up to me and started talking to me. And I think I ignored him at first, but he made, you know, he finally stood around patiently, and then told me who he was, and he said he wanted to get together and talk. And so we had coffee, I think, within the next week. And he said, look, man, I want to take you into some studios and we'll make a record and see how it goes. And we did, and it was a really satisfying experience. We made he took my sound and he elevated it without taking away the thing that made my band, you know. And so that happened. And then we did some CD release shows. And so, like, I don't know if you remember, around 2014, 15, like, CD sales were then at that point over, you know. The last album I had released was 2008. And I sold a lot of CDs at that show for my CD release show. And I mean, it did very well. And then for the CD release show for this album, which was significantly a better product, I felt, I felt I had my most mature songwriting. The production was amazing, and I was very happy with this album, very proud of it. And
Yeah.
we did our CD release shows, and we sold five CDs.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
and I was like, I mean, and the place was packed.
Starting up, the whole vinyl craze was starting up around then. But
yeah, right. But we pressed
the CD, and I thought, man, that's a really great album. And we had talked about like doing a review of it, but it was so intense. I'm like, it's gonna take like years for me to listen to this and try and analyze it, because it's so like heavy and there's so much there. So like
it's
concept album.
It's a heavy one. It's the songs there's a lot of depth to it.
Yeah.
But that was the thing, you know, like the business had changed so much, and I was like, okay, do I keep playing in LA from the same, for my fans, you know, who I love, and I'm very happy that they come out and support, you know, without there being a business model in order to really like make a living off of this. And I had already been doing it for most of my life, you know, almost 20 years. So as you could do that in your 20s, but as you get older, it becomes a lot harder to keep, you know, doing it. And watching, I used to be able to make a living off of selling my physical product at shows. And I saw after that, after really putting in the time and making this great product and then watching it not sell. And it just was like hugely discouraging for me. And I was like, okay, I don't know what I need to do now, but I can't keep doing the same thing. Yeah. You know, it's like, that's a definition of insanity, you know, doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. I was watching my results decrease. So I was like, okay, I need to hit the road and I need to go on tour. I need to just play at radio stations and have them play tracks from this album and do interviews. That will reach more people than playing my gigs, you know, regionally. So I hit the road, and that's exactly what I did. George, you know, helped me out with some tour support, and I just did a cross country, mostly hitting radio stations and playing little gigs here and there solo, you know. So I didn't have my band with me. I couldn't afford to, you know, so that's what I did. And it was rewarding and fun. I ended up getting a weekly gig in Branson, Missouri, you know, over the summer. So I did that once a week, and met a bunch of country players and artists. It was really fun. And passed through Nashville, went to Georgia, you know, and came back. And on my way back, I got into a pretty bad car accident.
Oh, no.
On the road. Yeah, my car flipped.
I mean, what happened?
Yeah, it's a long story.
Okay.
I knew I was going to be making a long road trip back to California. So, and I knew that my brakes, something was wrong with my axle, you know. So I said, let's go get that fixed. So he put all new tires on, you know, he fixed it, but he fixed something else on it that he thought would be problematic, the mechanic did. And he just said, oh, by the way, I can't even remember what it was called. It was like some axle related thing. And I was like, great, you know. And then I get in the car very early the next morning and start driving. And as I'm driving, I'm noticing that the car is tugging to the left, you know. And I'm like, I always have to overcorrect. So whatever he did, the car was handling very different than I was used to. Yeah. And on a long trip, you know, you just got straightaways for days. And I was eating sunflower seeds, and my mouth was really dry, and I had a bottle of water in the passenger seat, and it had fallen into the passenger wheel well. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to reach down real quick and grab it. Normally I could do that the way my car handled, but it handled completely different. By the time I had grabbed it and come back up, it had hit the center divider and flipped over.
Oh my God.
And I was like and I was like, this is the end, you know. I don't know what's going to happen now. And then I hit it was early in the morning too. It had to be like 5 a.m, you know, because I had gotten a really early start because I wanted.
There wasn't a lot of traffic, huh?
No cars on the road. And basically I landed on the hood upside down and slid across 2 lanes of highway into a ditch. And car was totaled. And I crawled out of the car. I crawled out of the ditch, and I was unscathed except for some cuts and scratches. And because the car was on its front, all my gear was in the back, and it had been untouched. It was okay. So all my guitars and all my equipment and all my stuff
Uh-huh.
but the car was lost, so I was stranded in Kansas, and my dad had to come get me. He had to drive like 4 hours to come get me
Oh man.
and take me back home and took all my stuff. And the car was totaled, and I had no way of getting back to California.
Oh man.
And so yeah, my road manager slash girlfriend at the time put together a GoFundMe page, and I was able to get enough money to just get back to California.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that put the end to my tour
Right.
after this album and after the disappointing CD sales. So I was in a position where I had to rebuild it from scratch, and I was like, do I go back to LA? But I was staying with my mom in Vallejo, and then this apartment became open, and I was like, you know what? After living on the road for a year and not having a shower and not having a kitchen to cook food, and I just needed a place, to be.
Yeah.
And so I took this place, and as a result of that, I took a job working for a parade company, building parade floats and doing scenic art for that. And I was taking the ferry every day and just like, getting exercise and just kind of like working on me, because I felt that I had worn myself so thin doing the music for so many years and not getting the kind of return that I felt I needed to carry on, that I just, I kind of slowed that down. And then I only started doing shows where they were either paying me or they were going to put me in front of people who'd never seen me before, like it was a good opportunity.
Right.
I was just much more, I wouldn't take any gig that came along. I only took the gigs that made sense.
Right.
And as a result, I wasn't playing a lot, but that was okay.
Yeah.
I was just like cooking meals at home, going to the farmer's market, getting healthy food.
Yeah.
I was taking care of me, because without me, there's not going to be any band.
Your soul.
Yeah.
Your mind, body, and spirit, right?
And honestly, that's where I'm coming out of it right now, and then this all happened. And then I'm doing these live streams, which is really getting me back to playing like once a week again. And people are responding to it so positively that it's really kind of given me a second life here with all of this. And I've been writing and recording stuff in my own music space for about, I don't know, a couple of years now. And I have a whole new record demoed and ready to go. I'm just trying to figure out the best way to go about it, because the business model is so different now.
Yeah.
So maybe I just record the singles and just drop them, I don't know.
I know a lot, that's what people do now. They put a single on Spotify or on iTunes.
Yeah.
I mean, I have my opinions about Spotify because I know how much they pay out, and it's just, it's a joke. But yeah, I mean, I think that is the new model, is just to release, singles, which is kind of weird when you think about it, like, especially when you got a concept album. I mean, that doesn't work, obviously, but.
Oh, I love the album model. I'm a big fan of creating a statement. Yeah. And the reason why the Coyote and the Crow is so heavy is because all those songs relate to each other.
Exactly.
And it's a musical statement of a time in an artist's life. Have you heard the new Fiona Apple album?
No, I heard that she has a new album out, but I have not. I haven't really been up on her since the 90s, really.
I'll tell you, I love it. It is a complete record. It is a full-on musical statement by an artist. Mm-hmm. And I think it's brilliant. It's a great record. And she's one of those artists, and I admire those kinds of bands that put out concept albums. I love concept albums, that take you for a ride from the beginning all the way to the end and tell a story. But or you could just write individual songs and drop them, so I don't know what the way forward is. I have ideas, and sketches of plans, but I'm coming out of a time of kind of rebooting myself and figuring out what's next for the Brian Travis Band.
Brian, it's been great chatting with you, and I'm looking forward to watching more of your live streams on Facebook. So can you tell everybody when you have the next one scheduled?
Yeah, I do them weekly. So they happen every Saturday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Okay. So a couple hours ahead for Midwest and the East Coast. And for the people in the UK or across the pond, it's like, I don't know, 2 a.m. or something. So you have to be a real fan to catch that one, I guess. But that's what they do. It's once a week. every Saturday night.
You can watch them again once you've recorded.
Oh yeah.
You can go back and rewatch it for the people.
I generally post them. Yeah, I post them after they're done. And then, yeah, you can just go to my Facebook page and you can watch them there. I post them on my band page, the Facebook Brian Travis Band, and also on my personal one as well.
Oh, you should post them on YouTube too.
I should. Yeah. Is that what you do? Do you do that?
No, I can't because of copyright issues. So any kind of music that's copywritten, like YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need to figure out then how to do that. Yeah, I need to figure out how to do that. Cool. They will forthcomingly be on YouTube. Yes. So.
Well, it was so nice chatting with you, and I look forward to what you're up to in the future and tracking your progress and all of your new creative endeavors. And I will post.
Thanks for wanting to do this. Thanks for asking me to do this.
Oh, you're so welcome. And if for anybody that's interested in finding out more about you, I'll put all of your links in the description box below this video so they can find you on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube and all, and
cool.
all those good things. And your website.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Thank you very much. Thanks for this. It's been great talking to you. All right. Cheers. Bye.